Hello, everybody. Greetings from Healthcare Foundation of India. I am Dr. K.K. Agarwal, President, Confederation of Medical Association of Asia and Oceania, and past National President, Indian Medical Association. And you are watching Med Talks with Dr. K.K. Agarwal, 135th episode, non-stop COVID edition. Let's have the headlines of the day. The US CDC will soon issue new guidelines that will recommend that close contacts of those infected with coronavirus should quarantine for 7 to 10 days after exposure, down from 14 days currently recommended. Dr. Reddy's lab and Russian Direct Investment Fund have announced that they have started adaptive phase 2-3 clinical trials for Sputnik 5 vaccine in India after receiving clearance from DCGI. The US pharmaceutical company Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech have received a clearance from UK. That means they will be launching the vaccine within this week by 7th of this month. And they have also applied it for approval from the European Medicine Agency. So UK have given it clearance before the EMA. The cumulative COVID-19 positivity rate has reduced in India from 7.15 to 6.69%. It may not be necessary to vaccinate the entire population, says ICMR. The reason being 20 to 25% have already been infected. Children may not need that much amount of vaccination, and many people may go for a private sector to have the vaccination. Before I go to the topic of the day, it's our customary to show you how to wash your hand whenever you start any program. So we go to our partners, Dr. Aziz, and so we take the solution sanitizer, minimum 70% alcohol, and we demonstrate. S for Seedha, U for Ulta, M for Muthi, A for Angutha, N for Nakhun, and K for Kalai. This is Suman K, which tells you that your hands are totally sanitized, and then we can take a surface disinfectant and clean. So with this surface disinfectant, which is a longer acting disinfectant, we can clear our areas. Now let's go to the topic of the day. We have promised you we will bring you one by one every country representative from the medical association and talk about their experience. Today I have a special guest with me, Dr. Jamaluddin Chaudhary. He is an eye ophthalmologist. He is a senior Central Executive Committee member of Bangladesh Medical Association. He is also Secretary General of Bangladesh Private Medical Practitioners Association. He is the Executive Committee member of Bangladesh Medical and Dental Council, as well as Bangladesh Rehabilitation Council. He is an active member of the COVID-19 Management Guideline Committee, Bangladesh. So welcome, Jamaluddin, to be there in our show. So we would like you to give a presentation of your country, and then we will have the question answers. Over to you, Jamal.
Thank you so much. I must first of all thank Dr. K.K. Agarwal, who is the President CMO, and he's actively arranging all these programs, and I must appreciate his efforts, and I'm privileged to have a program with him now. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present the COVID-19 situation in Bangladesh. So first of all, I must pay my tribute to our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, as it is the month of December, a month of the victory in the war of independence. And mostly, actually, I must thank also the then Indian Prime Minister, President Indira Gandhi for her active support in our war of independence. I do remember that 3rd December 1971, she ordered the Indian Air Force to bombard enemy sites in Bangladesh that time. So we are really grateful to her. And then my slides are there.
Ritu, slides लीजिए. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Please go on. I've already gone second, third. Next one. Next one, please. Next one. Okay. So we are also thankful to Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Indira Narendra Modi, for his sincere support to Bangladesh. So in Bangladesh, next slide. So, the first 3 COVID-19 cases actually were detected on 8 March 2020 in Bangladesh, the first time. Bangladesh reported its first death due to coronavirus on 18 March 2020. There was generalized lockdown program actually was implemented from 26 March 2020 to 30th May, although it was not strictly followed because for the practicality, actually, this it's very difficult in our country like Bangladesh, where there are a lot of people, actually working people, and so it's very difficult to implement that strictly. Finally, restrictions on public movement were lifted on 1st September 2020. Now almost everything is normal, and just social distancing and wearing mask is just as a practice now. And academic institutions are closed still. Mandatory mask wearing in public places were imposed in July 2020, but it was followed by few people only at that time. So the imposition of punishment by mobile phone, actually mobile phone was there, and it is going on now. Some few days back has been implemented. And social gatherings are discouraged but not prohibited. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. I already know. So this situation in Bangladesh, you have seen this already or now. Few days back it was just plateau for a long time. Now it is increasing again, and as it is said that winter may have some sort of effect. So probably it is going on here also. So you can see in the graph. So it's the upward trend actually. And next one, please. Next one. So
Jamal, can you increase your volume of the speech a little bit on the computer volume?
increase the volume.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So, is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So total cases are now diagnosed so far. It is 467,225, and total deaths is 6,675. Now, actually, the daily death cases are hovering around 30, 35 like that. And the total tests actually in Bangladesh have been done. This is 2,788,202 so far. But the health minister, although he has told that nearly every day they have got the capacity to go for 40,000 tests, but tests are less actually. Near about 15,000 to 18,000 per day going on like this. So you can see, we are not sure actually the exact number of cases in Bangladesh, you can say. So if you see here, next slide please, next slide. So you can see all sort of ages actually are affected. Children are less, but more than actually younger group are more infected, but more than 60%, 60 years age, the death cases are more, and male cases, male are more in consideration of death cases. Next, next. This is actually, this is the 50,000 confirmed cases on the 1st of June, 100,000 on the 18th June, and 150,000 in the 1st July. and they are about doubling time is they are about 25 days in Bangladesh. So here, next slide please. So, the general beds actually we have 4,440 dedicated for COVID-19 and occupied now at present is 2,517. And ICU beds actually there are now 379. This is the government sector, but overall in the private sector we have total 1100 something, and now 249 cases are in the ICU. Next slide, please. So about the vaccination program, I should inform you that Bangladesh has signed an agreement with Serum Institute of India, which is a partner of AstraZeneca, and for a supply of 30 million doses of its vaccine. Bangladesh will get 68 million doses of vaccine from COVAX with a reduced price. Next slide, please. And demographic dividend why which I showed here because we have to prioritize actually who will get the vaccine, actually, who is a candidate early for the vaccination. So here this is more than 65 years. This 5.6 percent of the population. And next slide, please. So I have just calculated just certain information that this is actually doctors, nurses, and other frontline fighters or workers, and including your police, army, answer paramilitary, BGB, all these things actually public started. This total become this is 1,653,000 for 620. Who will be coming first actually? So we are actually our prime minister has just stated that yes, the frontline fighters will be everybody can get the vaccine early, and so nothing to worry here. Next slide, please.
You'll have to make sound better,
Oh,
Jamal, because
it's
you
not
can
coming
you
here.
wear both the earphones
Yeah,
and make the sound as louder as possible
yeah, yeah.
because people watching are saying your voice is not clear on the
Oh, I'm
Facebook
sorry.
page.
Sorry. So it's a vaccine in Bangladesh actually. This Globe Biotech company, Bangladeshi company, they are trying to develop a vaccine, and this has been in the draft landscape of WHO. Of course, they have done a preclinical trial, but it's first there are three vaccines actually they have shown it to the WHO, and one is mRNA messenger RNA vaccine. So they are trying to go for the phase one trial, and so we hope that it will go first. Next slide, please. So at the end, actually, I am very much grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for a pragmatic and time-honored decisions which helped Bangladesh, must say, to keep under COVID-19 under control. Because at the beginning, the people were just postulating or they speculating that a lot of people will die in the street. But this is not the case in Bangladesh, thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Next slide. So thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you.
So we have 20 minutes for discussion. I'd like first to come back to the Bangladesh graph. And if you see this graph, we have 4,000 cases as the maximum peak. And now again, we are crossing and the graph is going up. Do you think this is, we are expecting a first wave, second peak? That means it is still the first wave because the bottom cases have been 1,499.
Yeah.
So do you think that this second peak is coming, and what can be the reason for second peak in Bangladesh? Is it winter? Is it pollution? Is it something else?
Yes,
And if you see the
absolutely. Winter is a factor, of course, and the pollution increases in winter also. So it is also, of course, I do agree that yes, it's one of the factors, but at the same time, the people actually mostly are relaxing, and actually the gatherings also are actually taking place in some places. and the government is not restricting those gatherings. Of course, it is not as usual. It's not going the year which we have seen, but still it is going on. So maybe it's a factor that people must observe the social distancing and wearing mask, and so government also has become a bit rough, a bit tough on the people, so that they wear mask and maintain social distancing. And the thing is the point of actually to think the policymakers here they are telling that it's the second wave, but which is not agree actually, because Bangladesh has not shown less than 10% of the infection that of the case actually
So
every day
if you
for the case.
see
Yeah.
what I have shown in the Bangladesh, and if you can see, Pakistan is also behaving the same. So India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, you can see Pakistan also the second wave is coming. It can be the second peak or it can be the second wave. That's what Pakistan it shows. Let me see, go back to India. And in India, if I have to see what is the pattern today, if I go back to India, and you can see the pattern in India. India is pattern is static. The pattern is static. It started going down, and now it is static for over a week. So maybe the number of cases, if you can see, this is the first peak. Now that peak is now stabilizing in India. So it is difficult to say why India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, because peak in northern hemisphere all over the world we are seeing a peak, but there are slight variations. So as on today, what is the protocol in Bangladesh regarding masking?
Oh yes, actually now it's a mandatory now, and the mobile code is going on actually, and so the people are a bit following this order, and
So this
now
is so what Dr. Chaudhary says is mask is mandatory. What about the school opening?
the government is not thinking at present to open this year. Probably it will be the next year, or yeah, it's like that.
So this year schools are not been opened. Maybe next year schools will be opened. What about medical colleges? Are they open or closed?
No, it was closed actually. Some sort of exam is going. They have taken actually.
So
That
not
will be the
only
reflection.
the public schools, but also the medical colleges are closed.
Yeah.
What about the Friday prayer in mosque? People are
No,
coming, or how are they maintaining social distancing?
no, it is allowed actually, but they are advised to go. But I told you, the people are working at sea, and they are going to the mosque and
So
making
the
Salah.
prayers in religious prayers on Friday are allowed. Obviously, they are being told to maintain hygiene, physical distancing, and masking. So, religious prayers are going on in Bangladesh. What is the number one cause? And then Dr. Chaudhary has said younger people are getting more infections, but the mortality is low. Elderly people are developing less infections. Once they develop, the mortality is very high in that particular cases.
Yeah.
Being an ophthalmologist, how common is conjunctivitis in Bangladesh? COVID
Yeah,
conjunctivitis.
it is there, but it's not so. It's sporadic, you could say.
So the conjunctivitis, COVID conjunctivitis is seen. That's a field of Dr. Chaudhary. What about the treatment protocol? Ivermectin started in Bangladesh, but is it being used or not?
It is actually unofficially the people sometimes they are taking, but we don't have this ivermectin in our guideline protocol, which is national one, and actually there was research is going on actually on ivermectin. So
So
we
as on now, ivermectin is not in the national program, but in a
yeah,
private sector, it is being given. What about doxycycline versus azithromycin?
no, this is not in the protocol.
Hmm?
It should not
Which
follow.
medicine is in the national protocol? Doxycycline or azithromycin?
No, they are not in the protocol. Actually, this is actually antibiotic. They are going straight with something like ceftriaxone, like if it is necessary, not like
So
antibiotic.
antibiotics are not in their protocol. What about remdesivir?
Yes, remdesivir is randomly used, and in case of the people in stage severe, and
So remdesivir
favipiravir,
is being used in serious cases. What about favipiravir?
chemotherapy is given from the very early stage.
So in early cases, favipiravir is given. What about steroids?
Steroids are, yes, are given.
So early steroids are being given in Bangladesh. What about blood thinners?
Blood thinners are from the very beginning.
So blood thinners also are being given from the
But
beginning.
steroid is given for the severe case.
Steroids are being given for serious cases, but blood thinners are being given. What about vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc?
Yeah, this is regularly used.
So it is regularly used. So we can see that the protocol in Bangladesh and India, and we also discuss it with Pakistan, we also discuss it with Malaysia. These are the common protocols which we are following. And you can see the mortality of Bangladesh is how much?
Yeah, mortality, this is
I think it is
numbers. Yeah,
1.43%.
yeah, yeah.
So which is the same. So near mortality in Bangladesh, Pakistan. So most of the Asian countries are behaving the same pattern. More the number of cases, more the mortality. They have now the difficulty which comes in Bangladesh is that you have a very high degree of the density is very high,
Yes,
but the
yes.
population, like Pakistan, in Bangladesh also, the answer comes is people may not be wearing masks and they may be violating. The same thing is happening in India also. So people are not following that they have to wear masks. That's the difficulty.
Dr. Agarwal, can I just ask you one thing?
Yes.
But when you compare with India, India is having more infection in comparison to the population size. India, I think, it's quite, what is the reason behind it? Did you uh, figure it out?
So if I have to compare the populations, so let me come back to the population
Eight times more,
sharing.
almost eight
Yes,
times
we
more
will.
than Bangladesh.
So
But
India is in India, the population is we have 100 deaths per million population, and total cases are 6,856 per million population, as against Bangladesh, which has 40 deaths per million population. So the death rate in Bangladesh is lower than it in India. And in Bangladesh, number of cases, total cases per million population is 2,825 vis-a-vis 6,856 per million population. So India has almost like three times, 2.5 times the death rate and almost like three times the number of cases per million population. And that's what Dr. Chaudhary is trying to say. Am I correct?
yeah, 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 that's right. So now I'm just asking you whether you have figured out what is the reason behind it, what is real. What is real.
See, reasons, I think behavior of Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh will almost be the same, depending upon which area, because the population of India is so much. The death rate and the incidence rate will vary according to density, according to the education, and according to the state wise. So if I compare, I can't compare Bangladesh with the whole India. I will have to compare Bangladesh with a similar population in India, maybe West Bengal.
Well,
So if I really have to compare, I must compare West Bengal with Bangladesh and Punjab with Pakistan. Then I may find that things are the same.
oh,
So if I can't compare Bangladesh with Kerala, I can't. Kerala has to be compared with Sri Lanka. Okay. So we may have to compare because the whole population of Bangladesh, I may have to compare only with the eastern part of the country. So in India, when we compare all of them together, we can't compare. So we have to compare the type of population density and then compare the whole thing.
do you
And,
think
and
that the virus strain is a factor?
No, virus strain cannot be the factor. The reason being there is only one virus at this moment, and that is D614G mutation, which is happening, which is causing, see, the same virus is there all over the world. So the mortality cannot change in India versus others. So there are three factors: the host factors, the viral factor, and the environmental factors. So it is the environmental and the host factor which will also matter. Say, for example, if you see countries like Singapore, countries like Hong Kong, China, they don't have hypercoagulable states in the society. If you go back to Europe, 5% of their society have underlying hypercoagulable state. Okay. Similarly, in India, we have significant number of people who have an underlying hypercoagulable state. So therefore, in those areas, the mortality will be higher than other areas. So even in see, if again I go back to India. Now, if I see India, there is only one graph. There is only one graph in India. Okay, but if I go to, let me go back to India in different parts of country, then I'll find it different. So let me just come back to for a second. So if I have to go back to, where did I go? Slides. So if I have to go back to Simao, yes. Now, if you see back to this pattern, so if I see now, if I want to show you this pattern, you will find it. So this is the pattern of, now if you see this pattern in Delhi, Delhi is showing three peaks. Andhra Pradesh is showing these two peaks. Karnataka is showing a different peaks. Maharashtra is showing a different peak. Tamil Nadu is showing different peaks. Uttar Pradesh is showing different peaks. Overall, there is one peak. So you can't compare a smaller country with India. We'll have to compare that part with country. So therefore, this pattern of Delhi showing three peaks is not seen when we see India as a whole. That's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm trying to say is that Bangladesh, when you compare with West Bengal, you may find the same pattern. When you compare Pakistan with Punjab, you may find the same pattern. When you compare Sri Lanka with has to be compared with Kerala, and you will have to compare Nepal with Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Okay, because these are the adjacent countries, and these are the people who also match their lifestyle in the border. There is a trans border, so the patterns will be the same. So if I combine Bangladesh with, if I do it one, so Bangladesh and West Bengal, if I merge West Bengal with Bangladesh, and merge Sri Lanka with Kerala and the other part of the south, Punjab with Pakistan, and UP Bihar with Nepal, if I combine them one, we will get the same single pattern which we are getting.
So can we just infer that actually behavioral pattern is a factor, one of the factors for spread?
The way it's not clear. Question is not clear.
So as you are saying, that can we just infer that behavior pattern also is a
It will be. So I said host pattern, environmental pattern, and the viral pattern. So environment may be the same in those areas, and behaviors also will be the same. So therefore, you have to see, you have to compare apple to apple. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's take one question, and that will be our end of the program. Yes, Ram Mishra. राम मिश्रा जी बोलिए.
हेलो.
यस बोलिए, सवाल बोलिए.
सर एक्चुअली मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था. स्टेरॉइड आफ्टर 12 डेज कैन बी स्टॉप?
बंद तब करेंगे जब हमारे पास में 2 सीआरपी लेस देन 3 आ जाएंगे, कंसेक्यूटिव सीआरपी.
सर
एक्सरे में और एक्सरे के अंदर में सीटी स्कैन में लंग रिजॉल्व होना चालू हो गया हो तो.
सर आई हैव मैं एक्चुअली HR CRT चेस्ट जो स्कोर हमने कराया था स्कैन का, दैट इज 1.2 आ गया है. 5 पहले 5 था, अब 2 हो गया स्कोर.
और सीआरपी कितना आ गया है?
सीआरपी पहले 1.75 था, 4 था, अब 1.55 आ गया है.
अगर दो दिन तक कंटिन्यूअसली सीआरपी नॉर्मल है तो बंद कर सकते हैं.
ठीक है, अभी डेबिकेट्रॉन चलने दूं सर?
वो चलेगा 28 दिन तक. So that's all for today. Thank you, Dr. Jamal Chaudhary, to be here with us and sharing the experience of Bangladesh. And I also got new points that I must prepare the way I have set. I will prepare some slide where I'll compare Bangladesh with West Bengal, Kerala with Sri Lanka, and try to see if there is a similarity. I think there will going to be a similarity. So all my viewers, thank you very much for joining this program. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Keep watching Med Talks with Dr. K.K. Agarwal. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. K.K. Agarwal. Thank you, everybody.